If you want to live free, sovereign, and on your own terms, it's essential that you manage and control your focus and energy levels. And in this video, I want to talk about an energy harvesting scheme that you may have fallen into and show you a way out. And as always, repel the hordes of low-T, brainwashed orcs. Let's dive into it. If you're new to this channel, my name is Joshua. This is Unboxable Kings, and the goal of this channel is to unbox the king that lives inside of you. And I want to talk about an event that's happening right now in the world and how it's influenced my life and how it may be influencing yours. So right now it's the European Championships, which is a football tournament in Europe, or soccer tournament where all the teams compete for a big trophy, and it's all very important. And growing up, it was very important to me. It was an event that I took seriously. It only happened every 4 years, so I had to be into it. And then obviously the World Cup is basically the same as this. But it was something that I studied. I'd be researching the teams during the build-up. I'd be making my assumptions. I'd be talking about it with people at the pub. Everybody would be talking about it. And this from a young age, you know. How are we going to get on? Who's he picked? Or what's this? What's the team? What's the strategy? Oh, look at the Germans. Look at these. Look at that. Oh, do, 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 do. You know, a lot of energy. And then the tournament would begin. You'd watch all of the England games, obviously my country, same for the other teams there. But really, you'd get your eyes on as many games as you could because of research and checking out the competition, and it only happens every 4 years and all that. But as I started to mature and realised that I wanted to walk a sovereign path and live life on my own terms, I started to investigate where I was investing my energy, because we only have so much. There is a limited amount of energy and focus that we have as men. So I started to look at that. And I realised that football was taking up a pretty significant portion of it. So I looked further into it. The history of football, where did it begin? And when you have events and influences in your life, I highly recommend that you look back through history and the etymology of the words that you're using, but how certain movements and organisations began, why they began, because then it can give you evidence and it can give you a little bit of fabric to weave through to see why it's influencing your life now in the way that it is. So when I took that approach with football, it didn't take me long to realise that the history is pretty clear-cut. It was a sport that was invented by wealthy, energetically rich men in England, and they started to play for fun because they didn't have much else to do, and it's a great game, and it is a wonderful game. It's a beautiful game. But in the north of England, the story was kind of different. It was played by mill workers and people working in factories. They started to have football teams like a way to express themselves at the weekend. And they realised that if they paid players, the standard would increase, the gap between player and fan would increase, and it would draw and harvest more energy and focus from the factory workers. And this was very important at the time because the factory workers were working jobs they didn't want to do, that were physically very demanding, emotionally probably very demanding, and the way that they kept them doing it, at least this is my interpretation, and leave it up for you, is give them something to watch, give them something to cheer for, give them something to belong to, give them a way to express suppressed emotions, give them a sense of community, give them a sense of victory, give them a way to have meaning and something to look forward to weekly. This, for me, is what football was. This is why it was made. And when I looked at that, I looked at what it was doing in my life. And I was like, you know, as a kid, as a boy, it's slightly different because you're a kid and a boy. It's different. But as a man, you've only got so much energy. So 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, I was looking and I was thinking, man, I'm putting a lot of hours into this. Why? And it's because I was just like the mill workers. I was doing a job and living a life that I didn't really enjoy. So when I had the excuse to go out and belong to something, oh, you can have beers, you can shout, you can scream, you can fight for what you believe in. This is England. It's only every 4 years. That's what I was in. That's why it's a scheme, in my opinion, because this isn't just every 4 years. It's like the World Cup, then you got the qualifiers, then you got your club team, then you got this, you got that. Before you know it, it's all year round, every year. And it was taking so much of my energy that I was like, do I really want this to be the case? Do you want this to be the case in your life? And I decided around 23, 24 that I was just going to unplug from this scheme. I wasn't going to give my energy to it anymore. I kept up with some of the results. I still do. That's why I know what's going on. I've got family that text me. I still watch a few games here and there. So it's not like I completely withdrawn. Oh, I can't watch this at all. But I stopped giving it the reverence in my life. I don't care what happens. I don't care who they pick. I don't care what the scores are. I don't care if they get knocked out here. It's completely irrelevant. It doesn't influence my life at all. It doesn't take any emotional bandwidth from me. It doesn't take any energy other than relaxation. It really doesn't. And off the back of that, I've unlocked new energy to invest in other projects like this channel, like my woodworking business, like my pickleball venture, all of these things that I do. It's because I'm not wasting energy looking at the starting lineup of Romania versus Serbia and wondering how that's going to influence England potentially in 6 games' time. It's crazy. And when I made that decision, like always, the orcs come out and they're like, oh, how could you do this? This is your country. You have to believe. You have to be involved. It's so important. What's wrong with you? Blah, blah, blah. All that shit. But that's because they're the mill workers. It means so much to them. And now that I'm out of it, and especially because I don't live in England, I get to see just videos. It's the same thing. It's people that are so engulfed and engrossed in this sport. It means so much to them. It's because, why is that? Is it because the rest of their life doesn't mean that much to them? If they put the same level of focus and energy into their life, their business, their passions, their kids, their family, whatever it is, would their life be better off? And this is why this video has the intention of repelling the orcs, because I know people are going to be like, well, I'm allowed to like what I like and you like what you like. It's like, well, yeah, you are. But to me, sovereignty is far more important, and living life on my terms is far more important. And for me, these sporting events became a grand distraction. They became an energy harvesting scheme that kept me from doing what I actually wanted to do. So the intention of this video is opening up the door to questions that you may not have been asked or that may have been on your heart, and because everybody around you is sucked into the void, is to give you a way out. And the way out is to, as I say in many of these videos, is you do not unplug from it, you unplug it from you. So you are the one in control. You have the power and the sovereignty to just be like, this is a distraction, man. Who gives a shit? It's a sport played from dudes I don't even know. And if they win, what do I win? That I get to go to work and give shit to the Polish people that work there, that they got knocked out and I didn't. That's what it used to be. It's just weird, man. It's just weird. So that's why I'm making this video. That's why I'm putting this out there, is that to give you the encouragement that you don't need it if you don't want it. If you want to take that energy and focus and the passion and funnel it into something else that's more important to you, do that. If you get no's around you and people kick back, the orcs will do that. That's why there's a community that I put together of like-minded thinkers that are like, sovereignty, life on my own terms, being unboxed, that's what I want. Because if you don't do this and you don't manage your energy, you might wake up at like 58, 68. I know some dudes that can tell you like who scored in the 1984 European Championship final and what minute it was in. It was like, who gives a shit, dude? I want you to tell me the key chapters in your life of when you changed and when you did this and what you did, not what they did. I don't want to end my life and get to that checkpoint, and maybe you don't either, so change things. Don't be an orc. And that's it from me. Thank you very much for watching this video. If it has opened up a door, please walk through it, because small doors lead to big rooms, and the change that you may experience could be monumental. And that's what I want for you. I want you to live free and on your own terms. I've been Joshua. This has been Unboxable Kings. Stay free and live as the king you are meant to be. I'll see you next time. Much love. Peace.